I was going through a crisis, I would say, because initially I was supposed to become a nurse. That was actually my first occupation and my experience in the professional field. I took a lot of nursing courses when I was in my junior year of high school because they had an after-school program for nursing. And when things didn't work out in that area, I was not sure what I was going to do with my life. So that's why I transitioned to becoming an English student, or majoring in English per se, and trying to figure out what I was going to do with that degree was very scary for me because at the time I didn't know if I wanted to be a teacher. I wasn't sure. I remember my earliest experience in taking courses in my community college was finding out, I think I took a career class where I wanted to figure out my personality, what classes would work with my personality, etc. And I still remember to this day, one of the suggestions did say nursing, but another one did say teaching was an option. And I really thought about it from that moment. I thought, okay, I would love to be an author too. An author was also one of the occupations that was recommended in my career results as well. But I thought about it and I'm like, I don't know if I can be an author because it's hard. I have to commit to writing, and there are gonna be days where I just don't feel motivated, etc. And I just started to stress out. I was like having, I think I would say, a very early crisis in my life. I was just 18 at that time. And I remember feeling really unsure what to do with myself. I was afraid to make decisions because when you're 18 and you finally realize how big your decisions can impact your life, yeah, that was a very scary experience for me. And I still remember I had panic attacks when I was younger too. So yeah, it was terrifying. But I'm really glad I stuck through with what I pursued. So going back to the story about how I ended up in Indonesia, I met a friend online when I was in high school, and she and I had the same interest in writing about fan art and fan fiction about our favorite ships. And it was she who introduced me to the idea of teaching abroad. And I thought about it and I said, okay, well, I already took a lot of observation classes for teaching English in American schools, in high schools, in middle schools, and I've seen my teachers, the teachers I had when I was in high school, just observing them now that I was a college student. I saw their expressions. They looked tired, they looked exhausted, and that kind of just told me that I didn't know if I wanted to pursue this route. Even though I love literature and I love analysis and having discussions about them, but the impression that I walked away with was this was not going to be a fun time in class, especially if you had to have a lot of energy while entertaining 5 classrooms, because I don't know if it's the same in your guys' country for high school, but we have 6 periods. So one every, I think it was 1.5, 90 minutes per class, so 6 classes. So I saw that my energy would probably die towards the end of the session. So that was basically the breaking point for me as a teacher, where I thought, I don't know if I want to be a teacher anymore. So thank goodness I followed my friend's advice. I saved up money during my community college. So I worked while I was studying. And then I saved enough money to move to Indonesia for 6 months. And I stayed there for the maximum capacity, which is 6 months, by the way. And I was able to provide for myself and also get a feel for if I wanted to be a teacher. I introduced a lot of new methodologies in teaching, and I realized I found my identity as a teacher very early on. And I noticed I'm the type of teacher that really focuses on the fun aspect and activities. I was very proactive in having students practice what they were learning in class, especially with whatever pronunciation lesson I was giving them. I think that's where it all started.